When I first tried to pull this clip from my camera, I found out it was corrupted. Skeeter had so many excellent things to share that day that I immediately went out and bought a new camera. No longer would I lose such valuable stuff. Since then, I managed to find some software that recovered a lot of this. I think I lost the first half of what he had to say about nettles. The following is what is left.
Urtica root or nettle root is really good for that too. And then if you take the two together, saw palmetto and nettle root, it's better than either one alone. So they have some kind of a synergistic effect. So this is a very good prostate medicine, the root. And then of course we have the fiber. And this was one of the preferred fibers for making netting. And so the word net and nettle comes from the same root word, because they made nets originally were made out of nettle fiber, because in water they're very durable and they don't decompose. Like some things you put it in water and they just start falling apart. So nettle is very good in water as a water fiber. And they still in Nepal make nettle fiber, and they make vests and clothing from, and it's kind of coarse. It's a lot like linen. Linen, flax, and nettle are very similar in their qualities. And of course, nettles grown in a field situation in the sun are going to get really tall, and you put them close together, they'll get really tall and you have really long fibers. So I think that there's still I always figured that if I had 2 acres of nettles, I could make my entire living from 2 acres of nettles by selling leaves, the seeds, the roots, and the fiber.
Monocrop?
Yeah, I have 2-acre monocrop.
Hey, you know what? In our forest, it looks like a monocrop.
No, so I probably wouldn't really do a monocrop. I am growing nettles in my garden, and it's working. But, you know, meager. I've learned that nettles growing in the full sun in eastern Washington, kind of desert kind of country, they're not as happy as growing over here.
Yeah.
Do you still harvest the leaves after it's gone to seed?
No, not. In fact, you don't even harvest the leaves. They say don't harvest it after it starts flowering. That's typically what you'll hear herbalists say. I think that and they say the reason for that is something about some of the crystal structures in the leaves become so large that it's hard on the kidneys, which is the same thing they say about horsetail. You don't want to use old horsetail, because we pass by the horsetail. So horsetail, young horsetail, is used for 2 main purposes medicinally. One is for a urinary tract disinfectant. I believe it's for urinary tract infections. And the other one I know for sure is it helps build bones and ligaments. When my son broke his leg snowboarding, I called up a bunch of my top herbalists, because I work for the herbal community. I can call up some of the best herbalists in the country and say, hey, it's Skeeter, you got a few minutes to answer a question, and they'll talk to me and not charge me. So I called up these great herbalists, a number of them, and said, hey, my son just broke his leg, what herbs should he be taking so he can get a good repair job? And they said horsetail, oat straw, comfrey root, and hawthorn berry. Those are the 4 things that came up consistently for healing bones, ligaments, and stuff. So horsetail, but horsetail you want to do it when it's young. Same thing. You get old horsetail like the stuff we saw, then the crystalline structure, they get the crystals in there. They have some kind of crystals, I don't understand. They have silica in it, very strong silica, and the silica has some relation with calcium in the body. Silica's strength, it's like you use silica to build things. So the silica crystals get so big that when you pass them through the kidney duct, that they can start tearing up your little kidney vessels. So there may be something about that with I don't understand why we don't use the nettle leaves after the flowering exactly, but it might have something to do with that.
I have a question about that. People are always saying what you should use if you get a sting. And I read it somewhere I said, well, you can actually use the nettle juice. So, I tried that one time. You always get stung with, between your glove and your...
Right.
And it's like, so I did that. I crushed some up with my glove, and I rubbed it on there. And it's like immediately, it kind of like seemed like it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened, and I don't know if this was unrelated, but like later on, like an hour or two later, instead of just the little burny thing, which isn't that bad, the little thingy, it started to ache, like in my muscle. It ached, and it ached for like almost a whole day.
Huh.
Which I don't know if that was because I'd rubbed that on there, but I didn't.
Sounds
keep
suspicious.
it, try it on
again. You should try
again.
it again a couple times.
Really achy. It was like right in that.
But I found plantain is really excellent.
Yeah, that's what I...
And dock. People use dock and sword fern sorey, but yeah, I just sort of ignore it and say, it's good for me.
Yeah.
But I've discovered over the years, because I harvest my record is 80 pounds of nettle tops in 3 hours.
Whoa.
At $6 an hour. Yeah, $6 a pound. That was pretty good money. $480 in 3 hours of picking. I was a happy camper. So I get stung a lot when like you say, you wear long sleeves and you wear gloves. But there's always a spot here. So you say, oh, I'm going to use a really long gloves and a rubber bandit. So there's no. But then you go home and you say, I don't have time to put the gloves on. So I start just picking up huge piles and moving them around and shoving it in boxes and stuff. And I can get maybe 100 stings. I will get multiple, and I'm really tingly. But after a while, some parts of the fingers start going a little numb. If you get stung enough times, you'll actually get a numbness. And it can last for like you say a whole day or something. And now I've noticed that after doing that for years, that actually I've developed a allergy to nettles. I'm not an allergic type person. I have very few allergic responses. But if I get stung a bunch of times with nettles now, my eyes will start weeping and I'll start coughing and I'll just start getting this allergic reaction to the stings because my body said, okay, you've overdone it.
If you like this sort of thing, come on out to the forums at permies.com where we talk about wildcrafting, homesteading, and permaculture all the time.